If you had the opportunity to live in a children's wonderland, would you choose anywhere else? We don't just say, we do. It's the Sthe City way.
Hello and welcome to Real Talk. My name is Anele Mdoda. Thank you for choosing us right here on SABC3. The stage is yours. So this coming Sunday, we celebrate the gentle giants we always turn to for their physical and emotional strength. The superheroes we looked up to as kids who made us feel safe and our go-to guys when we run out of funds. I'm just going to be honest. I'm, of course, talking about our fathers. We have a famous reality TV father in studio, but my first two guests may be worlds apart when it comes to their careers, but the common thread they do share is one of being 21st century fathers with an incredible amount of love for their young families. Sthe Mabanga holds a demanding position running a business empire, but is also a father of three with his wife, Buhle. He's joined by another father of three who we've come to know and love as Schumacher on the popular telenovela The Queen. Please help me in welcoming actor Vuyolwetho Ngcukana as well as businessman Sthe Mabanga. Thank you for your time, fathers.
Hello. Thank you.
Fathers.
Thank you for
Look, first things first is that you guys don't remember when you were growing up, a father was like somebody who's old and like the business is just big, it's just big. You guys don't represent that.
No.
Would you say you're a new age father?
I think I am. Going by description of what a new age father is, I would describe myself as one, yeah.
You?
Cool dad.
Cool dad.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's the thing, and because obviously, you know, the way in which we parent is always evolving.
Right.
But what are some of the things you know for a fact that that basic principle in being a father will never change for me?
I think teaching my children to be honest is the biggest thing for me. They don't get into trouble for breaking things or doing something wrong. But if you are just honest about it, then we've got problems.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah.
And you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll attest to that. I think honesty and even more important, respect. You know, you have to instill that very early because it's the basis of how humans get to relate, whether you're around or not around. I think the world has enough bad people, and we should try and raise some good citizens for the world. You know,
you don't want to release any more bad in the world.
I think we have enough.
I like that. Yeah. So, how many kids do you have?
Three.
Three, and it's two girls.
Two boys and one girl in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Were you happy when the firstborn was a boy?
No, I was. I mean, I was obviously when you get your first kid, I was just happy that he was healthy. You know, because you're nervous. It's your first child. You just pray to God that he's healthy. The fact that whatever gender he is great, but the fact that he was a boy, I was just as happy.
You're like thumbs up.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't ever think I don't care if it's a boy or a girl, but with you, it's like boy, girl, boy, right?
Right.
So you won't even have like the complex of like middle child, but you're the girl. You are the princess.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and then the last born, but we last born, like that's your throne. Like this is you. This is all of you.
Shuffled pretty nicely.
And then the firstborn is like, but now guys, why? Where is my authority? Three girls.
Yes.
I would say for your sons, but you know my dad very well. I know you take a lot of advice from my dad, and my dad's got 4 girls.
Yes.
So what's that like?
It's pretty amazing, actually. There's times I don't feel like they're girls because they don't do girly things. I think that the things that we get up to aren't really gender-based.
So you don't raise them conscious like, I am raising girls, I am raising someone's wife, you know, I hate that notion.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. They don't identify with femininity a lot because it's not something that we play around.
Okay.
Especially, maybe it's because they're just kids now.
Yeah.
But I've taught them even colors. They come back from school and they started saying pink is for girls, blue is for boys. I was like, but I've got pink stuff.
Yeah.
So what does that say? your mother has got blue stuff, you know?
Yeah.
There really is not. So I'm trying to break that mold where they're taught to stay in certain categories because of certain things that have been taught before. So for us, they're girls, but it doesn't feel like I'm raising girls.
Right. And what was your relationship with your father like? Sthe.
I mean, I've got an amazing relationship with my dad. I was saying earlier to the guys that, you know, I grew up in a home where if there's one thing I can say about my dad is that he was always around. You know, I played football when I was younger, and I could count hundreds of games where he was around. So I think that's the notion that I took up, and I consider him a great friend even now. We talk, we call each other up, and so my relationship with him is great. And so it was a natural progression when I had my son. Obviously, it's very scary when now it's your turn. You know, there are things you're learning for the first time. But the one thing I said to myself is that the best that I can do is be around. And then the rest, I will figure it out, being a young parent at the time, how to do. Because life changes a bit.
Yeah.
But I think it changes for the better because you have a greater reason outside of your own needs as to why you need to do certain things.
So you said that, you know, your dad's your friend. When did the shift happen when he went from being your father to your friend?
You know what? You know, my dad took me everywhere when he was younger. When I was younger, you know, he played football. I went to all his games. He'll hang around with some of his work colleagues. I'll be around.
Nice.
So we grew up. I mean, I was 13, 14. I learned how to drive.
Okay.
You know, because to him, you know, this is what you got to do now.
It's a skill you must have.
Yeah, by 15, I was sort of sneaking around there and driving. And he was just okay, you know. So that's the environment that I think my parents, my mother, who also I'm very close with, had in the house. And I come from a family of 4 boys. So, you know, so you can imagine that household and the chaos and the brothers. And that's the unity that I came from into my own family, and that's the background that I had.
Vuyo, what was your relationship like with your dad?
Very different from his.
This is good though then. This is good because this is South Africa. Let's also remember, yeah?
My father was a hard worker and a provider. We were not very close at all. And the one thing he taught me though, that I'm very grateful for, is looking after your family and taking care of your family and working hard for your family no matter what. Because I remember my dad would say, no matter what happens or wherever he fails, there's never been a time where there were no groceries in the house. There was never a time when we had to go and make means as children for something we needed for school or something we needed to grow up, to help us grow up. So my dad was a provider, and his job made him travel a lot, which is one of the things that sort of created the distance
between the two
of us. And I was raised by my mother a lot, who was very liberal. So my mom taught me independence at a young age, and it was very different from how my dad then and I related, because my dad still had that thing, because of how he grew up. He still had this idea of how I should be as a child. And they were taking me to schools that were teaching me to think beyond just being a child.
Yeah.
So there were clashes between me and my dad where he refused to understand how I was growing up that fast. You know, how I related to him then became a big struggle.
So in hindsight, Vuyo, you can say my dad and I weren't very close. But as a child, are you aware that my dad and I don't have a close-knit relationship? Or do you think, well, that's normal, this is how all kids are?
In hindsight, I realized that my dad and I are not close.
In hindsight, okay.
Yes, yeah. It's something that actually bothers me. But we're at a stage in our lives where I am trying to come into my own as a father.
Yeah.
And he is in his old age now, where there's things that he does not want to answer for, where I still have questions about, but Dad, how come? Why did this happen? And he still feels like I shouldn't be answering those questions to you, even though you are a man. Yes.
Yeah.
So we're at a level where we actually started speaking in January about very difficult topics.
Yeah.
And it's slowly happening, and I pray that we have enough time to eventually sort of talk through things so that a lot of things are resolved between me and him.
Interesting. I think many people can agree with both of you. And this is the thing. Like I said, this is South Africa. Our stories are all different, the relationships we have with our fathers. Please let us know, what's your relationship with your father like? What questions do you have for your father? And also, are you planning to be a father? What kind of father do you want to be? You can send us all your WhatsApps, and I think these fathers will be... they're not going to answer the questions because we're not saying they're experts, but they're just going to shed some light from their experiences. More with Vuyo and Sthe after the break. And welcome back to Real Talk. Society has come a long way since the days when fathers were only required to be the breadwinners at home. Today's stage belongs to all the fathers in studio, all of you who are dads tuned in today, who represent what fatherhood in 2017 looks like. Entrepreneur Sthe Mabanga and actor Dineo Ranaka are still here. Vuyo, you are an actor, you're in entertainment, so there is a certain level of uncertainty when it comes to finance, when it comes to that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So how are you a father when you know that at the back of your mind, that is an issue?
It is one of the most difficult things, actually, to know that you have to provide for your children, and also to try and deal with getting the money and the work to provide for them. It is the most difficult thing. I was fortunate in that their mother supported me a lot when I was starting out in my career. She was a breadwinner in many instances when I could not bring the bacon home. And we would share the responsibility. When I got a job, a nice big job, immediately to be, let's go get this, let's go get that, what do you need? So it is nice that I had the support. I had the support of friends. I had the support of my older brother, who's amazing, and I look up to him. And it's funny because he's got a small boy, so he had children after me. And he was the uncle who was like the financial dad in the situation.
Yes, because there you are, there he is, helping you out with your 3 kids.
Yes. So I had the support of my brother Vuyolwetho, my older brother. And then my younger brother also would come into play at some times when he would visit. Okay, we need this, we need that for the children. Winter clothes, they need jackets. My brother would be like, that's 1,000 rand. So in the environment I'm in for work, it was very, very difficult in the beginning. And I'm grateful, and I was lucky in that I had those people to support me, the friends, the family.
But I think, the fact that people can support you very easily is testament to then your character, because I'm not going to support someone who's not a nice person.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You were just like, but clearly you've built good relations with people that they feel like your children are their children.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I had very nice relationships. And my children are very, very bubbly. Yeah. And they're very loving. And I think people took to them in a very nice way where it was easy for them to say, Yazindon, Vuyo, if you need help with this, of course, for the kids. Yeah.
Sthe, how are you balancing the boat of indulging kids and giving them just enough?
Yeah, I mean, with us, we've worked. My wife is the boss at home, and I've said that to my son also, so that he doesn't get it confused. So I could always defer a lot of things to her and make an excuse for things that I don't get. But when we started our journey, we've been married 10 years now, and we were much younger then, and things were not always available. And particularly for our son, I mean, he experienced a time where I was still trying to figure things out. So things were not always available, and I think we then used what we didn't have to fulfill what we needed.
Okay.
And I think we've never walked out of that mode, so...
Even when prosperity came, you continued.
Because the foundation was already there. Our son doesn't ask us for ridiculous things. He's a football fanatic, so at worst, if Ronaldo's new boots, then I'm in trouble, So, but that's as far as it goes, because I think we've lived in a way where there's no need for more that we don't need.
Okay.
So, and my wife, Ubushe, has been the one that has driven that home, because obviously when you're a dad, it's easy for you to want to do certain
Yeah,
things.
to overindulge because you're like, I didn't have this, so I want you to have it. I didn't have that, so I
And
want
our
you to
work,
have it.
I mean, long hours, so you feel like you haven't been around home, and you feel
Yeah.
like when you are home or you've been traveling somewhere, and you know, you have the lure to say, listen, I'm gonna buy this.
Yeah.
And she'll just call us to order. She'll call me to order. She was like, no expensive stuff, please. Or Lukona needs this for school, or needs this for soccer. And those are the things. And that's how we've kept it really simple.
Your son is a Cristiano fan. You are an amazing dad. You are an amazing dad. Listen, we've got a WhatsApp. Let's have a listen and see how we can weigh in.
Hello everyone. I would like to know what is the one thing that you guys think that makes father run away from the responsibility of being a father? Like, why would someone run away from their kid, from raising their own kid?
Whoa, okay.
That's a heavy one. I honestly cannot tell you what it is, because when I had my children, there was not a time when I didn't want to be with them. So it's one of those where I'm like, I don't understand. I also don't get it. When I look at situations, I could say, if realistically, maybe this guy was not ready financially, or he's got his own issues that no one else knows. And it's always that person's issue that no one knows about. You can never really tell. From the surface, you can never say, this one, he's a coward, or you don't really know.
I think you just said something so important, that women and children need to realize that it's always that man's issue.
Yes.
Because I think we internalize everything, and it's like, no, he left because of me. No, he left because I am this. No, he left because I am that. And it's never you. It is always that person's issue.
Yeah.
Sthe, how would you answer that?
You know, being a parent is the greatest gift in the world.
True.
Okay? So I think it's quite important that we don't make excuses for people. Like, so the young girl that's asking, or the lady that's asking, she was not there. And there's no way that she could explain the process. I'm assuming now she's talking about herself, but there's no way you can explain the thought process that he went through at the time of him realizing he's a father. You can't own that for him. That's his decision that he's made not to be a father to whomever. It cannot be yours.
Yeah.
You know, you can't own that and say, he had a fight with my mom. I've had fights with my wife.
You still here?
I'm here.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with our kids.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the human factor in realizing that there are many things that contribute to outcomes. You know, it could be maybe the fear of the responsibility. It could be, I don't know what the excuse is. As we were saying, you have no idea what goes on into somebody's head. But when I've had difficult moments, I mean, being in business earlier in life, sometimes you don't even know what your family's going to eat. Something as simple as that. But if you tell yourself that I will go home tonight and we will figure it out.
I love
you know
that.
what I mean? Yeah,
I'm
going home now.
And we
I'm
will figure
going
it
home
out.
now. I'm going home now.
Yeah.
And at home, we're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And thank God I went home, because usually my wife had already figured it out. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the guys have the anxiety of the going home. There's a problem. I'm not going to go home. I am going to choose to go somewhere where I can run away from the responsibility that awaits me at home. But little did you know, maybe that issue was already taken care of.
Yeah.
But they could never know now. They
It's
never
like,
went
I'm
back.
not going to call home because I'm
No,
in
they
trouble.
Yeah. Do you remember when you were younger?
Yo.
Where a problem
You like,
was like 10 times more?
and then you get home and it's not a problem at all.
Man, God had taken care of it. You know? So a lot of I think I'm being simplistic in my explanation, but I think whenever we are faced with a challenge, I think we internalize it so much that it's 10 times more than what it actually is. And sometimes a challenge just requires you to be present in it.
In order for it to go away.
Because that's also how you grow. How are you going to know what stretches you if you keep running away from it, you know? So So I think a lot of our guys have chosen to just walk the other way when there's been challenges.
Sure. After the break, we're joined by Kgotlaesele. Oh, I knew I was going to mess this word up. Kgotlaesele. There we go, Ntate Ranaka, who you will recognize from the hit, stop laughing, from the hit reality TV series. Don't forget about our competition. It will be a nice Father's Day gift for your dad. Follow the details on the screen and you could win yourself a 5,000 rands e-gift card from at home. We will be right back. And welcome back. My next guest, who along with the rest of his family allowed TV cameras into some of their most intimate moments, were thoroughly entertained and for weeks tuned in as they laughed and they cried and they disagreed with each other, as all families do. The spin-off to the successful Dineo's Diary, I have daddy to the first family of South African reality TV, the Ranakas. Welcome so much to Ntate Ranaka, joined by his lovely daughter, who we all know and love. We're obsessed with her, Dineo Ranaka. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us. Thank you very much.
How cute, because you just arrived now, and I saw you arrived and you guys hugged.
I didn't even know that he's shaving his beard off, and I'm like, like, what happened? He's like, I didn't shave. My wife shaved my beard for me. So you look good. You look handsome.
She always, when she sees that she needs to shave me, and she just
I'm glad she does that. Did she chop your
gets me
nails
to the
as well?
chair, sit down here, bring the tools, then she does
Sort
this.
it out.
And she always does it very, very well.
It's a pity she keeps missing your nails. He's got this thing, he grows his nails.
likes
I have
his
no
nails now.
idea.
No, I refuse with my nails because I'm a man.
Okay.
Yes, a man has to have nails.
At which point,
Why?
when we are growing our nails, I don't get it.
Why must a man have nails?
Because he grapples with things.
Well, that's the first lesson today. You need to be totally grip on things.
Absolutely. What if you were attacked by a beast or a lion? You would also have to
Get in there with your claws.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
You're defending yourself.
Did you ever have anxiety about being a father?
No. As soon as I had the sense that I'm a man, it kicked in immediately, and I looked forward to being a father, though I wasn't desperate.
And Dineo, for you, what's the earliest memory you have of your father?
Well, I won't speak so much of an earliest memory, but I'll speak of one prominent memory.
Yeah.
When I first started my menstrual cycle, he was the first person who knew about it, and he was the first person to buy me sanitary towels.
Oh, wow.
And he taught me how to use sanitary towels. And for me, that was such a humbling moment, and it was such an eye-opening moment, because usually that would be, according to the societal script,
Yes.
the responsibility of the mom and so forth and so forth. But it was my dad, and he made me feel so comfortable with myself and the changes that my body was going through. And if it comes from a man in your life, your father,
Yeah.
you'll never have daddy issues moving forward.
Yeah.
So he resolved all my daddy issues.
Yeah, from word
From
go.
just word go. From word becoming woman, he resolved them for me.
Do you not feel like you, because I mean, we watched Dineo's Diary.
Yeah.
Okay, and you do not tell any lies on that show. Everything is
Yeah.
like there.
Yeah.
Do you not feel like when it comes to relationships, you very much, it's okay, me, I'll just leave here because you have such a high benchmark. Like
I
you're-
was about to say exactly.
bring it through.
My father has set the standard so high for family service delivery that I cannot ever in my life tolerate a man with no spine, a man with commitment issues, a man with no intellectual capacity, a man, hey, look, listen, you come into my life, you must know your story. Because I was raised by a man who knows his story as a man.
Yeah.
They usually say, it's in the pocket, right?
Yeah.
But it takes more than just financial capacity to actually resonate within my spirit as a woman. Because my father's taught me that a man is validated by a woman. A man is a seed planter and we are nurturers. So if you are planting the wrong seeds and you're giving me nothing to nurture, you've got problems in your life. So the door is there, please walk.
Yeah. And do you ever feel like, ish, my daughters are too hard, man? Like, because let's be honest, Manaka is like this. You don't know which side you're going to start Manaka if you have to come right there. Do you ever feel like, yes, I've raised such like strong people, yes, but at times they're too hard?
Deliberately so. I raised them to be strong, because I have seen, don't need to tell this one, but I'll just hint something. I've seen my mother, whom I have parted from when I was 6. She placed me in the rural area, in the countryside with her parents, my grandparents, from 6 to 16. That 10-year gap, I had a very good inculcation of character, of morality by the elders. When I rejoined her 10 years later in the city, the first 6 months of I was 16 years old, of my high school, the first 6 months of 1960 when I rejoined her. That January to June, I had witnessed a terrible situation in the home. I found her, when I parted with her, I'm the firstborn, her firstborn. She wasn't married. When I rejoined her, she was married, so I had a stepfather. No problem with that. That's a father. No disrespect, love everything. But this man showed me the bad side of a man that I had never seen all my life from 0 to 16. He assaulted my mother like he was kicking a ball that he didn't want to have anything to do with. It's like when you're dealing with something, you say, I'm breaking this to pieces.
Yeah.
So that's how he assaulted her, very badly. And I got such a shock that when the schools closed for winter semester, I bolted out of the house in Zone 2 Mirrorlands, straight to my uncle in another township, Orlando. Right, the other side of Soweto. So, and I said to my uncle, take me home. Meaning, take me to my grandparents.
To my grandparents.
Yes. I'm going to be a shepherd, as I was a shepherd. I don't want anything to do with schooling. I don't want to have anything to do with Johannesburg, a city. And the elders had to come, because he took me there, and they had to come and make sure that they resolve the issue.
Yeah.
Right.
They intervened. Yeah.
Now, that shock, that I think also must have been something that kicked in, helped to kick in something into me. Right. Now, when I raised them, my children, especially the girls, because they come before the boys, 3 of them, I made sure that they will have to stand against intimidation.
They must have nails.
They must have nails. Yeah. I will not, because I didn't see my father fight, my mother, defend herself.
Yeah.
She was always running away from this man. Now I said, I'm not going to raise girl children, since I have girl children, to be intimidated like my mother was. So whatever happens, they'll have to stand strong.
And he's always said that he doesn't take kindly to intimidation, so neither should you. In the township, I was once slapped by a boy, twice actually. In Vosloorus, I was slapped by a boy, and I was sent back to go beat him up again.
Yeah.
I was sent back, and I went to go mur him, and I was okay with it. Then I learned my lessons. Then this one time, they sent me to the stores, and some young guy was hitting on me, and I denied him, and I declined the courting,
advances?
The advances. I declined them in English, and that offended that guy. That he's uyanshela ngeXhosa and then mina ndiyamala ngesilungu, you know.
Yeah.
So he slapped me in daylight. I just went to my father, and I went back home. I went to my father. Can I tell you, this man? He's such a beautiful soul that protects that which is his. He doesn't know this boy from a bar of soap. He doesn't know where he lives. But by 7 o'clock in the evening, he had found his home, he had found where he lives, and he had held me by the hand along with my then brother-in-law, and we were knocking on the door, and he said, if you want to live peacefully in this neighborhood of ours,
Apologize.
you respect every woman in this neighborhood. You apologize to my daughter, and you make sure that you don't do whatever you did again. And he's not violent. He's not aggressive. He's a talker, and you will listen.
But those are the ones you must be careful of.
Yes.
The ones who are not
Oh,
violent.
Mr. Miyagi,
Wexin
Daniel's son.
Yes, Lando.
Yeah.
Focus, Danyosa.
Yes.
That's the one
Yes.
you must watch out for.
Yes, he resolves peacefully. He does that, but he taught us to truly be strong.
So listen, I'm pretty sure that you are dying to send in your WhatsApp voice notes for the Ranakas. You'd like to ask Ntate something, you'd like to ask Dineo something, because she's also a parent and she has to also navigate the relationship between her children and their fathers. All of this coming up after the break with Real Talk right here on SABC3. Come back, Wian.
Guys, thanks for this occasion. This is more than a picnic. It's not just a family get-together. We're welcoming Magoti to the Ranaka clan.
You're here?
Okay.
I'm a pretty welcome.
Okay, right. So Michelle, you are welcome to the family, the Ranakas. You are now one of us. And more than that, you are a daughter here. Congratulations. Koloi ya munyari, ya khota khota. Koloi ya munyari, ya khota khota. Khammo le dipere tsa yona, ya khota khota. Khammo le dipere tsa yona, ya khota khota.
That was just one of the many special moments the Ranakas have shared with us on season 1 of their reality TV show. Is there ever something where you're like, no, we can't put that on TV?
There have been moments. There have been moments where my father and my mother have stepped in and they've said, now we'll take over the production reins of the show. This is too much. This is for us and not the public. There have been moments.
Okay, so a lot of tweets coming through for your dad. Sorry, Dineo.
No,
You
let
know,
him.
You
Let
are
him.
the famous one, but Papa is celebrity, okay? Mr. Miyagi, never a dull moment with him. Mposhi Yamo says, Dineo's dad is a legend. Mr. Ranaka is a man of wisdom. I admire him so much. If fathers were like Ntate Ranaka, this world would be better. So much wisdom in one person. No wonder Dineo is as resilient as she is. Now, girl, you are the poster child for resilience. Have you always believed that Dineo will bounce back? Don't you guys worry about her. Every time when she even says, I'm down and out, I'm tired, or when she goes through her sicknesses, you know, have you always believed that? Don't worry about Dineo.
It's a difficult one. Dineo, or any of my children, if anything happens to them that might be negative in terms of behavior, or they are unfortunate, it is the way life is. I accept that. I cannot abandon my children. I cannot lose hope in whatever it is that might happen to them, especially if it's negative. I grew up in a situation where older people go through the toughest times and they never give up. And they never doubt anything. I don't doubt my children. Actually, the more they are in trouble or they are troubled, it is the closer I must be with them.
Oh.
Yes, so that I must give them the support. If they fall,
you must be there.
I must be there. It's either I collapse with them or they fall onto me so that I cushion them. Oh. This is how I treasure my children, my family.
Right?
Oh my, I am going to cry.
Right?
Yo, okay, we've got lots of WhatsApp voice notes coming through. Let's hear the first one.
Hi, Anele. My name is Raymond Ngono, and I grew up without a father. So, like, I've always wondered, like, how would it feel like for me to actually have somebody to call a dad? So, what I want to know is, like, how does it feel like to have a dad? To those that have dads.
Look, I think there's two answers there for him. I want you to answer that because obviously you are the subject. And then also I want you, Ntate, to kind of speak, because you're going to be speaking to a greater good of South African children, because they are fatherless. That's what the stats say, that they are fatherless. I want you to talk to them to say, how does one grow up and turn out to be okay when there is no father, knowing the role that you fill in your children's life? Dineo, let's start with you.
Well, I mean, look, the feeling of being raised by your biological father, there are no words to begin to describe, you know, the sense of belonging that one feels, the sense of being loved that one feels. And I look at my children, because my children, I co-parent with my parents. For the longest time, I've raised my children with my parents and the rest of my siblings. So I've had a very solid support structure. When I look at my children, I can see that they are not being raised by their biological fathers, but they don't have a sense of being a misfit in society because of the blessing of my father still existing, right? And the blessing of my brothers taking on a father role in the lives of my children and not just being uncles, you know? So I can't really answer the question in words, but I can tell you what it's done for me being raised by a man of this quality and being raised by my own father. It has just made me look at life and acknowledge that truly, indeed, I am blessed. And not to say that you are not blessed
if you don't
when you're not raised by your biological father.
But look at the structures that are around you.
The structures around me have reined me in and disciplined me to a degree. You know, every situation, every situation we find ourselves in life adds a certain leg of value to your life. You need to just look deeper and seek the value in your own. So without a father, you need to look outside the father figure to seek value. But there's a lot of value in a father staying with his family and raising his children, so much. And this fatherless nation that we live in, it breaks my heart, breaks my heart.
Dada, if a child is watching now and they don't have a father, how do they become great people like you when they don't have the example?
It's a difficult one. You need to have values to start with. The inculcation of values will take you somewhere, good values. I wasn't raised by a father. My biological father didn't marry my mother, as I already hinted earlier, that I was raised by my grandfather and my grandmother. A man in your life does not have to be biological.
Absolutely.
A man in your life could be an uncle. I was surrounded by uncles, and everybody has uncles. All the young people, the young men in this world, be they in Africa or anywhere else, I cannot see that they can tell me that they don't have uncles, unless there's something wrong. There are other relatives in the extended family. There are neighbors, there are men around you. I became a journalist not because I was supported by my family. My mother was actually even against me becoming a journalist. I became a journalist because of a man I met in the street who saw me taking pictures and asked me questions, and we shared because he was a photographer too. But he led me to the newspapers. He says, look, the way you take pictures, you could become a photographer for a newspaper or a journalist, whatever. The young men who are fatherless should look around them in the neighborhoods, wherever they go, to identify a man that will ring a bell in their lives. Right. And they must wrap themselves around this man, right, so that they can get something. Because a man needs a man.
Yes.
To be consolidated when he is young. Because he needs a figure that is a man figure. You could call it a father figure. A father figure is not just a biological father. A father figure is any man that any young man can have something in common with. On the positive side of life, there are the young men who are misled by negative men. For instance, crime inclined. Right. So don't associate yourself as a young man with a negative man or negative men. Look for positive men, and you will find that life can be rewarding.
I think this is easily one of the most special moments we've had on the show.
I think so.
I really think so. Your dad is going to stay with us. You, my lady, we're going to let go. But thank you so much for joining us. You are on the bridge with Lerato Kganyako every Monday to Friday.
Yes, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it so much. It's a blessing
You
to be
sound
there.
it. And like I said, you can't cheat what comes out the speakers.
Thank
and
you
on
so
Metro
much.
FM between 10 and 12, we are thoroughly entertained.
Thank you so
We'll
much.
be back after the break with all our fathers. They'll be sitting here, Sthe, Vuyo, as well as Ntate Ranaka, for one last bit of wisdom. So get those WhatsApps coming in. They'll be answered. And welcome back to Real Talk on SABC3. The stage is yours. This Sunday, fathers everywhere will once again go through yearly tradition of receiving ties with funny patterns, best dad in the world mugs, and colorful socks as their Father's Day gifts. But hey, man, it puts a smile on their faces, and it is the thought that counts. We do have a WhatsApp voice note for a question from Ntate Ranaka. Let's hear it.
Hi, Anele. Kgotlaesele from Pretoria. And I just wanted to ask Dineo's father, how do you teach a young girl how to love themselves and to appreciate themselves? I love you guys so much. Thanks.
These are not simple questions. They sound simple. Yeah, they sound simple. They're not. These are difficult questions, but they need answers. I raise a girl to be a woman. I say to my children, girl children, you stand up for your rights. You stand up for your womanhood. And that's all there is to it. They should not be intimidated by boys or men or anything. They are just as human as everybody. So, a girl, as a woman, as a person, is a human being. That's how I've raised them, and this is where I always say to women who need to be encouraged, be who you are, be what you are, and don't allow anybody to tell you you're ugly, to tell you you are stupid. There's no such thing. For instance, I have raised my girls to say to them, when a boy proposes you, says, I love you, take that with a pinch of salt. He's got interest in something else about you. I won't mention that. And if he insists that he loves you, then you invite him home. Bring him to your parents. You introduce him as a friend. And if he's not going to come, as it happened that one of them, who said to one of my daughters, I love you, then she would say,
let's go home to my dad.
Let's go home, let me introduce you to my parents. He never turned up.
All right. Sthe,
Yes.
you're also raising a daughter. If I'm going to come with you, I think we should actually all answer the same question. How do you raise your daughter to have self-respect?
I think the greatest gift for me that I'm hoping to impart on Lilita is love. You know, if I need to be her sounding board as to how a man should be, or the manner that she should be loved. And I think through me and how I love her, she should be able through that to punch the holes in it if it doesn't resonate with how I've raised her and how I've loved her. Because there's nothing else that I can impart on her. I think her confidence will come with knowing what the role of a man should be in her life.
Okay.
You know, in terms of, in a context of a relationship. But also, you know, the fierceness of which my daughter is very fierce, she's very strong, you know, she's got a very independent personality. And I try now not to tell her the things that she shouldn't do.
Yeah.
You know?
Don't tame her.
Yeah.
Don't
you
tame
know,
her.
so
yeah.
she roams around, she's very strong. She has a very strong and independent personality. So for me, you know, I'll say to my wife that,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's the love that you give to her that will inform her the part that she needs to, and what will attract her and make her believe that somebody is really genuine towards her.
I like that both of you guys, the common thread is find if somebody's genuine. And Vuyo, let's wrap it up with you.
The one thing I've taught my kids is you need to love yourself and respect yourself to want good things for yourself.
Yeah.
If at first you don't succeed, you try and try again. If you really want to be something and if you really want something, it is up to you. You need to find the strength within yourself because it is there. I will help you as far as I can, but there's only certain things I can do for you. So you need to find it within yourself because it is there. And with my guidance and my help, they then surprise themselves. I find that they surprise themselves like, Daddy, I did it. And that is so rewarding in that the next challenge they have, they go back to, oh, I remember I couldn't do that in the beginning. And then I managed to do it because I can do it. Wow. That's what I teach them.
Thank you so much, Vuyo. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for the father that you are. Sthe, thank you so much for your wise words. Ntate Ranaka, the entire country says that you would be trending if we could all write your name properly. The long one, Kgotlaesele.
If I could write it properly.
No, not you. If everyone could write it on Twitter properly, they say that you'd be trending. The joke lands. Listen. Goodbye. Thank you so much. This is a parting shot from my side from what my father used to say to me. He's like, Anele, if I call you at 2 in the morning and I ask you, what do you love? And you don't say Anele first before you write everything else, I'll be very upset. So the bottom line is you should be your biggest fan and you must love yourself the most first. Happy Father's Day to my dad. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers in South Africa from this panel of wonderful fathers and the Real Talk team. Goodbye.